I was looking for a job with a convenient schedule to balance my studies at the university. While browsing job websites, an ad for a job at the local hospital security caught my attention. The job required working the night shift, which was perfect for me. And so, my first working shift arrived. I was assigned to guard duty in an old wing of the hospital, and after receiving instructions from shift security guard, I found myself alone in the security guard's booth. Despite the night being quiet, I felt an eerie sense of unease. However, I convinced myself that it was just my first experience spending the night alone in an empty hospital wing and that I needed to get used to my new job. Suddenly, the alarm went off, and its piercing sound shattered the silence of the hospital wing. I jumped in surprise. I had to leave the security booth to find out what had happened. I quickly walked through the deserted hospital corridors. The alarm had gone off in the basement, so I turned on my flashlight and descended the stairs. The basement was huge, and the light from my flashlight only revealed dim outlines of old corridors and rooms. As I followed the long corridors, I started to notice strange sounds, coming from the depths of the empty rooms. Initially, I attributed them to creaky doors or ventilation noises, but over time, the sounds became more eerie and unnatural. My heart started pounding faster, but I tried not to pay attention to it, convincing myself that it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. Suddenly, somewhere deep in the corridor, I heard faint laughter of a kid and the sound of fast little footsteps, as if someone was running away from me. I wondered what a child could be doing in the basement at night. Maybe some local teenagers had sneaked into the basement seeking adventure. "Hey, who's there?" I shouted loudly, and my voice echoed in the dark corridors. But there was no response. My heart was pounding furiously, but I continued moving forward, following the sounds. Unexpectedly, in one of the basement rooms, I heard the squeaking of wheels and groaning. The sounds were similar to a wheelchair's movement, but there were no patients in the old hospital wing. I felt a chilling fear engulfing me and my consciousness. Someone was in the basement, playing games with me, trying to frighten me. I kept exploring the basement, which filled with other horrifying and inexplicable sounds. I heard ominous whispers, muffled laughter, and quiet moans, sounding like sobbing. The sounds became more distinct, as if invisible people were surrounding me. I turned my flashlight around, trying to see something in the darkness, but there was no visible explanation for these sounds. And then, I felt a clear touch on my shoulder, as if invisible icy fingers of some creature gripped my shoulder like pincers. I froze in place, and my heart beat with fear so strongly that its loud pounding echoing in my ears. "Who's there?" I shouted again, shining my flashlight around the walls, ceiling, and floor of the basement corridor. I saw the dark outlines of shadows slowly approaching me, and their menacing whispers became clearer and more distinct. This can't be just my imagination, I thought, feeling adrenaline surging through my veins. I retreated towards the basement door, and just as I was about to reach it, I heard a sharp click, and the door slammed shut. Perhaps it was just a draft, or maybe Mr. Invisible, residing in the basement, didn't want me to leave. I pulled on the door handle, but it seemed jammed. I began to make every effort to open the door, and those few seconds felt like an eternity until I managed to do it. I had never run so fast in my life. When I reached the security booth, I locked myself inside and tried to calm down for a while. In the morning, shift security guard arrived to take over the shift from me. Noticing that I was agitated and frightened, he asked if everything was okay with me and how my first shift went. I told him about the alarm going off in the basement and my attempts to investigate. My partner chuckled and unexpectedly asked me, "Did they scare you?" I exclaimed, "They? Who are you talking about?" He quietly replied, "There used to be a morgue in this basement. I got used to them, knowing they are just lost souls lingering in our world after death. I couldn't work in that hospital despite the convenient schedule. However, periodically, while browsing job websites, I often came across ad for a night security guard position in this hospital.